The following lesson is linked to Learning Outcome 3, Writing and Presenting, and addresses the assessment standard that requires learners to demonstrate planning skills for writing for a specific purpose, audience, and context. Learners should be able to use the appropriate style and register for a writing task. Hi, I'm Charlotte. Welcome to this series of English lessons that are designed to help you with your writing. When we talk about writing, you might think in terms of this. Or even worse, this. Writing as a skill doesn't really have a good reputation. It sometimes seems like something that isn't exactly useful for our lives after school, but we put up with it because we have to. But to think that writing skills are something that you leave behind forever once you've finished school is a big mistake. Let's see what some professionals have to say about using their writing skills.
Hi, my name is Mark Drool and I'm Head of Corporate Communication at Barlow World. I need to write every single day in my job. I write press releases, I write reports on the work I do, I write information for investors. So for me, writing is part of the heart of what I do all the time.
Hi, my name is Busi Koloi. I'm with Mindset Network. I am the brand manager for the Health Channel. I do report writing. We also put together marketing plans. We do presentation writing, and I also report on writing on minutes.
Hi there, I'm John McBride. I'm a science graduate and I want to tell you why writing is so important to me. In my line of work, I need to take careful measurements and observations of experiments and then write up these experiments so that other scientists can check that my work is accurate.
Hi, my name is Bill Farquharson. I'm an entrepreneur. I have a shop in Melville called Mexican Importaciones. And in my daily job, writing is very important, not just for the administrative duties like ordering stock, but more importantly for things like advertising and publicity in order to attract new clients into the shop so that I can do good business.
Hi, my name is Lloyd Khadebe. I'm studying here in Joburg, but originally I'm from Ladysmith. I've got a girlfriend in Ladysmith and I do write letters almost every week just to tell her that I love her.
So you see, writing is a skill that you will need throughout your life, no matter which career you choose. Let's see what this lesson is all about. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to use the appropriate style and register for a writing task. The truth is that most people don't find writing easy. In fact, this is what some of the learners we spoke to had to say.
Whenever I'm asked to write something, my mind goes blank.
I never say what I want to say in the way that I want to say it.
I can never get the words out of my head and onto the paper.
I sometimes think I've written a good essay, but it comes back full of red ink and with a bad mark. I just don't know what the teachers want.
300 words seems so much. I don't have anything to say.
If you feel like this about writing tasks, you are not alone. But the good news is that writing is not a gift that you either do or don't have. Instead, it is a skill, like learning to ride a bicycle. If you follow the rules and get a bit of practice, you will be able to get it right. We spoke to Musa Matebula, who is a postgraduate student at Wits University's Writing Centre, about writing skills. Here is what he had to say.
Writing is a skill we're all constantly improving. Having been working at the Writing Center for quite some time, it's become very clear that this skill is required by everyone, from first-year students up until postgrad students. It helps in the process of thinking in many ways, and the sooner the skill is acquired, the better for most people.
lessons, we are going to look at writing skills and each of the steps necessary in order to write well. In this series of lessons, you will learn how to plan and structure your writing, develop your ideas, write with style, refine and polish your writing, and finally, proofread and edit your writing. But first things first. Before you write a single word or begin planning what ideas you will include, you need to be clear about what you are being asked to do. This step is maybe the most important step of all. Think of it like this. Writing is like going on a journey. If you don't know your destination, Pumla, you're supposed to go to Durban. All your hard work is for nothing. In exactly the same way, before you start writing, take a moment to read the topic carefully. You should ask yourself the following questions. Do I know what I'm being asked to do? For example, is it a piece of creative writing that requires imagination? Is it a letter? Is it an essay for literature? How much should I write? Is it a paragraph? Is it a short essay of 200 words? Is it a long piece for 400 words and for a lot of marks? Finally, think about who the writing is meant for. A chatty letter to a friend will be very different to a formal letter of application for a job, and you wouldn't want to get the two mixed up. This idea of who the writing is meant for is also called the audience for the writing. The reason why knowing who the audience is so important is because we write in different ways for different people. In other words, we use different styles and registers depending on who the audience is. The style and register that you would use for a job application would be formal. You would use standard English and would take care to be polite and respectful. If you were writing a note to your friend, the style would be informal. You might choose to use register that was slang or colloquial English. Let's recap those questions that should be the first thing we ask ourselves before we start writing. What am I being asked to do? How much should I write? Who is the audience for this piece of writing? What style and register should I use? The next thing to do is to get the ideas flowing. The way to do this is by brainstorming. When we spoke to Musa Matebula at the Writing Center, he had this advice on brainstorming.
Brainstorming is basically the bouncing of ideas. You have the core idea from which other ideas are extrapolated, and that helps in having to understand your topic and outlining what you'll be doing. But what is very important not to do when brainstorming is actually spending too much time doing that process or getting off the topic. It's to be used as a guideline for your main body of work. It helps that way in terms of clearing your thoughts and knowing exactly what to do. And one way of doing that could be the spider diagram, and there are many other forms of it and many other examples. It depends what you actually want to do and how you want to go about it.
Brainstorming sounds like a useful process, but I wanted to see how this really works. So I went to St. Stithians High School to sit in on a brainstorming session by the learners.
Right, so today's homework is that we have to write an essay about the world outside our window. So I think we should write some ideas down.
Don't worry if the ideas are good or bad or silly. You can draw pictures or just write keywords.
It doesn't matter if your notes don't make sense to anybody else, as long as you remember the ideas you had.
It might seem like this is a lot of extra work. You might also be worried that there isn't enough time to go through this process in an exam or test situation. But with a bit of practice, you will become quite efficient. In the end, it is worth the extra effort. Brainstorming is a way to collect all the ideas that fly around the inside of your head like butterflies. Once you've got them down on paper, you can start to organize them. This process of organizing your ideas is the next step in the writing process. We'll take a closer look at how to do this in the next episode. But right now, it is time for today's task. Here is a writing task. Write a letter to the editor of your local newspaper to comment on a recent event in your town. Your task is to work out what the purpose and audience of this task are, and what style and register you would use to complete the task. In this lesson, we have talked about how it is important to know the purpose and audience of a writing task, as these will help you to work out what style and register to use. Also, knowing where you are headed will help you to work out where you can get information from. Goodbye until next time.